Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of PonderVision, an MCU discussion podcast. I'm your host, Charlie Ashby, and joining me as always is...
Ash Jefferson.
How you doing, Ash?
I'm doing all right. It's been a pretty good week. We're remodeling a lot of stuff in my house, so that's been exhausting, but very fun.
You're pure John Walkering it all up.
Yep.
You got your little background music in the background. You're putting medals all over the house, just painting it in, just embedding it in the walls.
I'm not a fan of that comparison. I choose to think of myself more as like Tony Stark in the first Iron Man movie, just manically creating stuff and hoping it works. You know, that's my.
As long as you've got a little robot dude to help you out.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, hey there, little robot thing. How you doing?
I have a Roomba. I don't know if that counts, but
I mean, add a little Pixar lamp to it, and you basically got the same thing.
I did. There is still a Bluetooth speaker taped on top of it from a joke that I did about 3 months ago. I don't have the heart to take off.
It needs its voice. I can't take it away. I'm not Ursula. It's been a pretty weird week. Obviously, we tried to do a live stream, and my voice was just completely gone, so that went out the window. But we're here now.
I'm glad that the evidence of that no longer exists, me trying to carry a podcast by myself.
I was never going to leave you floundering. And
I was like
we can't let that happen. We're like Bucky and Sam. We've got to stick together, be a team. But yeah, it was interesting. This would be the first audio-only episode for the show, but I doubt it would be the only one going forward. Yeah. The reason why we did like the live streams was because it's just simple and more easier for us to do with guests. But if this is more appealing to you, if it's a better way of looking at the show, we might attempt to do more of these. So please let us know in the comments. But yeah, let's get into the episode. Last time we saw Falcon and the Winter Soldier, John Walker decided to get into the whole decapitating business.
Yeah, he he decided that killing someone on foreign soil was a good idea.
I mean, he's been doing that for years. Quite frankly, I think the film.
Let me rephrase that: killing someone on foreign soil where people could see him.
Absolutely,
maybe. Yeah.
American Idols do the darnest things.
I'm quite impressed. I'm impressed that the show actually didn't be like, the show actually was like, yeah, no, you're not Captain America anymore. Because I thought it was going to do, I feel like the more realistic thing that would happen in that situation is that they'd spin it, you know? They'd be like, hey.
I think the filming was the key part. Like, I feel like there wasn't...
Yeah, I feel like it's not that you did this, it's that you made us look bad because people caught it on camera. You know?
Exactly, yeah. And I'm pretty sure Malcolm Spellman and a few other of the creatives talked about it this past week. The idea that the likelihood is that they would have just pushed out another blonde-haired, blue-eyed dude and be like, "You're Captain America now." That's what it means.
Give us back the shield so we can give it to somebody else to repeat this horrible mistake that we've made.
Exactly. No lessons have been learned in this situation.
Exactly. Right.
Like pretending to own what they've done. I guess. And like we've seen the end of the episode as well, like that dude is a douchebag still. Like he's still a prick. He's still like, I guess we have to push the refugees out. I was like, excuse me? Like, who are you, even? So we see John Walker run away, holding the shield, and seemingly looking like he feels some sort of guilt or is nervous about what he's definitely roided out with the super serum.
Yeah.
And then he goes into this whole, okay, I've got to keep going mode before Sam and Bucky turn up and start to talk to him.
Yeah, and I like credit to Sam for being like, okay, like this is not like it's gonna be okay. And then I mean, John was the one that escalated that conflict, you know. It wasn't Sam and Bucky immediately were like, "Oh, we got to kick your ass and take the shield." Like, credit to where, and then it was great because Bucky was following Sam's lead in that situation. You know,
Yeah,
he didn't, which
absolutely
is
was.
such a stark contrast from the first episode, or not the first episode, the second episode, where the first time that they are together, where Bucky's just like, "I can take him. I have a vibranium arm." Now he's kind of like waiting for Sam to kind of give him the go ahead on it, because I think he like trusts Sam now.
Absolutely, and he's seen firsthand how well he reaches out to people, and that's a very Steve move, I feel like, to actually reach out. And he's like, "Look, things aren't as bad as you think. I'm sure they'll put into account your previous military service, and look, just give me the shield. We just don't want anyone else to get hurt." And then obviously that gets translated into the warped mind of John Walker as, "You actually want the shield. You want to take it from me. That's not happening. I'm Captain America." And then we get this really great battle sequence, which is practically Civil War 2.
That might be like one of the best fight scenes I've ever seen in the MCU. Just the way that it was choreographed and shot. It's just, I think like I feel like one of the things that always bothers me with MCU fight scenes in general is there's lots of fast cuts. You don't actually get to see the actual, and I understand why they do that. They're swapping between stunt doubles and stuff like that. But it's really nice to just see like a brutal fight sometimes. Like not like Iron Man blasting repulsor blasts or whatever. Because it's like cool as that fight scene in Endgame is, it's a lot of like people shooting at other people kind of thing. It's nice to just see like, no, these three people, or like these two guys are going to kick the crap out of this other guy. I don't know. That sounds bad when you say it. Only in a superhero context do I mean
No,
this.
absolutely, yeah.
But yeah,
and I think after watching the trailer, which obviously dropped after this past week, of Shang-Chi, I feel like we're definitely in for more of those more grounded,
I can't
full
wait.
shot fight sequences.
I love Shang-Chi already. I'm so, give it to me. Inject it into my veins. I'm so excited.
I mean, yeah, it's like that trailer just blew me away, and I feel like the future of the MCU, especially Phase 4 in general, is such a great ride. It seems to be, obviously, what we've had so far, and the fact that we're actually delving into things that we didn't quite see beforehand, especially in these Disney Plus shows. Very intriguing villains, very emotional fight sequences. This one was pretty great. Seeing Bucky get pushed and then get electrocuted from that, and then Sam getting the beat down, getting clipped by John Walker, and then he straight up tries to murder him.
Yeah. And I really like the scene at the end where Bucky ends up beating Walker, but throws the shield down at Sam. Like, this is not mine. This is yours. You got to deal with this, dude. Like,
I really
the time to deal with this problem you unintentionally created is right now. Like,
absolutely, and that's the key thing. It's unintentionally, but still, I think what's interesting is that, and I hope this is. It feels to me that this has been spelled out, but I feel like now is the time to go to people and say, "Look, Bucky does not want the shield for himself. He wants
no.
He has obviously later on he explains the reasoning, like it's the last part of his family to him, but he doesn't want to wield it. He doesn't think he is capable of wielding it, and I don't think he is either."
Yeah. So yeah, it's such a good show. There was a second though in this episode, I guess we'll talk about later, where I was like, are they going to make Bucky Captain America? There was like a there was a split second where he was looking at the shield and they like paused, and I wasn't quite sure of their intention, and I read the scene incorrectly, but there was like a split second where I was like, are they going to make Bucky Captain America? That'd be stupid. And then they didn't. And I was like, thank God.
Was that the scene where he was cutting out a triangular black trouser shape in his pants? I was like, I need this. I need the black and the blue and the red.
Yeah. I'm all for like Bucky like taking up a different mantle. I think like White Wolf is probably the one he's going to take up, I would imagine.
That's going to be so interesting.
Because I feel like the context of him being the Winter Soldier, or maybe the whole like thing will be like he accepts his past as the Winter Soldier and takes up that moniker again to use it for good, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what direction they're going to go with that, but yeah.
I know, I think Auden mentioned this before, like in the promo art, they kept teasing the White Star, like being filled in. So maybe that might be where they're going, where he like becomes White Wolf and he has the White Star to cement that idea of him feeling and being fulfilled now. Which would be nice. Good for him. As for Sam, though, he got his wings clipped off. And the next scene we see of Torres, it's the first time we've seen him since episode 2? Episode 2, right? Yeah, it's interesting to see him, that really cool moment where they had a nice little bond between those two characters of Sam and Torres again. And we see him leave the wings with Torres.
Funny how that works out.
It's almost like they're setting up another Falcon.
Almost.
Just, you never know.
And if they never do anything with it, it's a cool nod,
Yeah, I feel like they have to, though. Like, if they didn't introduce in episode 1, when they had him, like, trying to jump in on the tech and fix stuff, and Sam's like, hey, get off that, like, and fix Red Wing, I'd be like, okay, maybe not. But because that's in there, I'm feeling like he's gonna show up last minute. Maybe at the New York building when stuff is going down.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Or maybe
cool. Even if it's not in this series, it'll be in like. There was a lot of talk online this week about like a potential season 2.
I think it's very likely that we're going to get season 2 or a rebrand at least.
I keep saying this. I feel like we're getting season 2s of a lot of these shows. It's just they're just going to be called something different. Like because my main thought is because WandaVision set up so much stuff that can't feasibly be like addressed in Doctor Strange 2. Maybe they were like waiting to see how the reaction to WandaVision would be, which was overwhelmingly positive, and it was overwhelmingly successful for them. That we're going to get like a wrap up of Vision and Wanda, not a wrap up necessarily, but an extension of Vision and Wanda's story. Because, White Vision is still running around. Wanda still has to like figure out her deal. I think it's entirely possible we get like a show called Vision and the Scarlet Witch. You know?
which that could be extended seasons. I feel like WandaVision, though, in itself was an event series. Like, everything that happened in that show had to be contained to one season.
Mm-hmm.
The aftermath and the effects, like comic books, will continue, but you can't do like in season 2, they get trapped in another TV universe. Like it just
no, you can't. Like work. It'd probably be vastly different in tone.
Yes, it'd be
like
basically this, but
Wanda's the Scarlet Witch now. So like calling a show Vision and the Scarlet Witch wouldn't be confusing. Like she actually has the mantle now. I don't know.
Exactly.
That's my hope. Mostly because I loved WandaVision so much. But I'm pretty sure we're gonna get season 2s of these shows just because they've been so successful. And like, why the hell not? We're not getting an Avengers movie for a while.
I mean, Loki and this show I feel like are the most obvious to get a second season. But even then, I'm expecting maybe like title changes. I don't think Falcon and the Winter Soldier will be the same title.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure at this point that Sam's going to be Cap by the end of the show. So maybe we'll get like
Cap at the beginning of this week. Sorry.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting. But yes, we do see obviously that scene with Torres. And they have a little tease of the whole wing situation. But then we get the big cameo.
A cameo that I didn't understand. Because I was like, who is this person? I don't know. I know it's Julia Louis-Dreyfus, but I was like, I don't know who this character is.
I was like, are they doing this?
I know that I'm supposed to, but I can't remember the name.
Yeah. I was like,
and I have not looked it up because I figured you'd tell me who this cameo was.
Do you still don't know who it is?
No, I don't know who it is.
Oh, so So Elaine from Seinfeld, no, Julia Louise-Dreyfus, who is incredible.
Yeah.
She's hilarious. Plays a very interesting character. Because
I feel like the name is familiar. I just don't know what it's from. I cannot remember to save my life.
Hang on, bear with me 1 second. I just want to make sure I get the full name correct. Yeah. So, as we know, Julia Louise-Dreyfus plays Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, aka SHIELD agent, main tight squeeze of a certain Nick Fury. Also, kind of a interesting woman. She's not purely a SHIELD agent, I'll say that. In fact, yes, in fact, she has double-crossed a few times. But she's like one of the bits. She's like one of the apex. She's like, there's like Dum Dum Dugan, Nick Fury, and then Valentina Allegra.
Mm-hmm.
She's also worked for a little thing you might know called Hydra.
Ooh. Okay.
I'm just saying, she was a character called she's not a character called, but she was one of the Madam Hydras.
All right. Okay. All right. I figured it was something like that. I think. See, my problem with comics knowledge is I know a lot about 3 very specific characters, and that's about it. Like, ask me about the Wasp and Scarlet Witch, and I got you. And Vision, I got you.
Yeah. So she was the leader of SHIELD's Femme Force, which was an elite cadre of female agents.
Okay.
The disputed leadership of Femme Force was between herself and Sharon Carter.
Ooh.
So there's like a nice little link between those two, if they're going to go down that path. Even though she was like Madam Hydra very briefly, which is why I made loads of jokes about Hydra this week, including I photoshopped the characters of Seinfeld into Hydra characters, which made me laugh. But also, I think what's more important is that she leaves Hydra or betrays them for a thing called Leviathan, which is really confusing for me because Leviathan is also a stupid organization in DC. Sorry, they keep using names. And I'm pretty sure that's what she was last seen doing, so maybe it will be connected to that. I know that there's like she was like a Russian spy as well. Like she was always connected to Russia. And
we are getting that Secret Invasion show, aren't we?
Yes. But also she was due to appear in Black Widow.
Ooh, okay.
She was supposed to appear in Black Widow first.
Oh, all right. Okay, all right, yeah.
So when she shows up, we will like...
We'll know who she is now, I guess.
The average viewer would have been like, oh, it's Val. But I wouldn't be surprised if she's connected to like the Red Room.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
The person who like got Natasha into S.H.I.E.L.D.
Okay, all right, yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised if she's either she's got her own organization that doesn't agree with the S.H.I.E.L.D. or like the Avengers, and that's what Sharon's part of, maybe. Or, and I've had heated discussions about this concept with people, because she wasn't with them that long. It's very debated, but I still think Hydra is an interesting threat to have out there. Because people are like, oh, but Hydra got defeated. I'm like, but they didn't. Like,
yeah, so did okay, this might be... yeah, so did the Nazis, and they're still around. Like...
Yes, absolutely that.
Like,
but also, they straight up mention in Ant-Man that Hydra are trying to buy the Yellow Jacket.
Yeah.
So, you know... Think about it, guys. They're still out there.
Yeah, I think Hydra. I think it's entirely possible that Hydra's still out there.
Absolutely. But whoever the character, whatever iteration of the character, I'm very interested to see that character play a bigger role. Maybe we'll see her in the finale, maybe we won't. I'm not sure. It's interesting. They definitely have a connection and an interest in the super serum. Which, I'm just saying, if it leads back into the Red Skull,
This is why we need season 2s of these shows.
Absolutely.
Right?
to prove me right.
Yeah.
Like, there's the Red Skull. I'm right. I'm good. But yeah, I'm really excited about that. Pretty fun. That scene, though, in the court with White Russell.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say, shout out to him for being such an incredible actor. What performance?
Apparently he auditioned for Captain America.
He auditioned for Captain America, they called him in, but the way he's phrased it has been I was not a major, I wasn't up for the role. He was called in for it. But he's very glad that he wasn't. He's very glad that this is the opportunity he got now, because I think for him, the way he's described playing this character, and he talked in depth about this recently online, the flawed character and what John Walker symbolizes is much more interesting to play, I guess.
Yeah, I would imagine so. I mean, credit to Chris Evans, mostly because he had years to do all this. But Captain America is kind of, in my opinion, but I'm not a Captain America fan, he's kind of a straight-laced kind of thing. Winter Soldier, he got to cut his teeth more into the questions about who he is as Captain America. But John Walker, I think, is inherently a more interesting character. And I imagine for an actor, it's a more fun kind of thing to play, maybe.
Yeah, definitely. Because you're symbolizing an entire key point of the show, I guess, as well.
Yeah.
Being a piece of shit, basically. But yeah. But also, you do have sympathy in some regards to him. You do feel for his loss of Lamar. You feel for Lamar's family, and he's not wrong when he says that they made him into a killing machine.
Yeah, but I feel it's a really interesting contrast with Bucky in particular.
Yes.
Because Bucky was also literally made into a killing machine as well, and Bucky is choosing to walk a different path. It doesn't matter how hard you get screwed over. It's how you choose to react to that determines the kind of person that you are.
Yeah, but right? Those were the Ruskies. Those were the Red Ruskies, Ash. Those were the German Hydra Ruskies. They're the villains. America's the good guy. Yeah,
America, the bastion of moral virtue. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just went to jump on that stupid. It just reminds me of that scene in Winter Soldier with Zola, and he's he was a German scientist. He goes, "I'm Austrian." Fuck you, Steve Rogers.
Yeah. No, I mean, here's the thing. I don't think we're ever in any Marvel thing going to get a truly scathing condemnation of the U.S. government, but I think this is close as we were ever going to get.
It was a pretty big one this week, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, so...
I feel the show is pushing itself in the sense of, there's obviously some restrictions in what they can and can't say, but I feel the show is clever at basically saying, these are the characters who, with narratives that you can choose to follow through with. Who are you going to believe? This amazing character who we'll talk about in a second, or this dude who chops someone's head off?
If you're Rob Liefeld, apparently John Walker is amazing. I don't know if you saw that tweet. Well, I think it was Rob. Yeah, it was Rob Liefeld. It was John Walker's amazing, my favorite character. I'm
He's like,
yeah, this tracks with everything I've ever known about you, Rob Liefeld.
Yeah, but if you got Rob Liefeld support, I feel like isn't that like a?
I feel like that's a sign to stop what you're doing. If Rob Liefeld comes up to you and is like, "Hey, good job, kid," I'd be like, "Oh, I am screwing up my life. I need this is a warning sign."
I don't know what am I doing? Yeah, like I think my tweet about that was when do we expect to see like an image of John Walker with like 60 pockets and big pecs, massive pecs, unholy pecs.
Yeah.
Yeah, idiot.
For those of you who don't know, Rob Liefeld drew this absolutely horrendous drawing of Captain America that you can Google. It's literally, I'm going to check right now.
Heroes
it's probably
Reborn.
The first thing that comes up.
Heroes Reborn,
yeah.
Captain America.
Yeah.
It's terrifying. Absolutely horrifying.
Yeah, Rob is the very first Google. If you look up Rob Liefeld Captain America, it's the very first Google image result. Every time I look at this, I laugh. I'm sorry. All right, we need to move on. But oh my God.
He's the Star-Spangled Man with a landing platform for a chest. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Why don't we delve quickly into not quickly, but let's delve into I think the major scene from this episode was just obviously Elijah.
Yeah.
Sorry, let me start again. Because I just realized we skipped the scene as well. But yeah, there's that really great sequence I actually really loved. And I feel like I was kind of right with my prediction, which was with Zemo. And that little sequence where he kind of, he's trying to kill himself again, or he wants to die, because he knows that either way, he has to stop Carly or he has to get killed doing it. And then Bucky just straight up is like, "Look, I'm not a killing machine anymore. I'm going to prove it to you through dramatics, because I'm Bucky Barnes and that's what I do." With a nice little hand bullet sequence, which I think we both predicted right last week. Like, we knew that was coming.
Yeah. It was one of those things I wish they hadn't put in the trailer, because I wish I could have been genuinely surprised by it, Yeah. But I kind of knew what Bucky, even without the context of seeing it in the trailer, you kind of figure what Bucky is going to be doing.
Yeah, it would have been a bummer if he just murdered him. It was like, yeah, well, I'm a good guy.
No, he's not that person anymore,
No, it's not. And I love how Zemo recognizes that. He doesn't challenge it. He just says, "Look, I've cut my name off. You don't have to worry about any of that." And he says his name. He calls him James again, which I think for Bucky is very, very important. And even though Zemo is a villain, and thankfully willingly goes into custody of the Wakandans.
Yeah, because I think at this point he's already seen them in action and is like, "I'm not getting out of this." There's no possible.
But also, I feel like him being of the Sokovian memorial, which is really sweet as well. It's like a nice little nod back to, because we talked about how the character has been slightly different this season, and I feel that was a nice memory jog of what he's been through in terms of his character development. Because remember, he was going to kill himself in front of T'Challa. So the fact that he was like, "Look, I don't mind going into custody again," I was like, okay, well, that's fair enough. He's willing to do that at least.
Yeah, he didn't bite a cyanide pill or something.
No, he didn't do a Richard Armitage in the first Avenger. But yeah, it was really cool to see that. It was nice to see that the Wakandans, and especially Io and Bucky's relationship, seems to be getting back on track. And
I like that
some wounds have healed.
The last thing she said to him that we saw before this episode was "Bass damn you, James." Right? It was like, "God damn you, James." And then in this she goes, "Stay out of Wakanda for a while, White Wolf."
Yes. Which is a nice little nod at, look, we're cool, but don't push it. Come back in like a few months. Let the dust settle.
We will eventually be okay, but you got to give me like 6 months to be angry about it, you know? Like,
yeah. We had an argument, but we're cool. We're cool, but don't push it, which I liked. And then he's like, he immediately pushes it by like, can you make me a whole suit for my boyfriend?
By the way, I have one more favor to ask you.
What did you think he meant in that at that moment?
I thought, I kind of assumed it was like new wings.
I assumed it was wings, and I think it wasn't until later on when I clicked, oh, whole suit.
Yeah. So I figured that he was like, hi, my friend's wings got jacked up. Can you make him some new ones? Can you call Shuri real quick? I'm sure she can figure this out in like 10 minutes.
Well, Shuri is like having to break all of white man Tony's gadgets. She must be like really bored. She's like, oh my god.
I just love the idea of like Shuri being a better Tony Stark. Like the Avengers come with their tech and are like, yeah, Stark made this for me like 5 years ago, and Shuri's like, this is so broken. Like this could be so much. I love that. Screw what anybody says. I love that scene in Infinity War where she's like, why didn't you program the synapses to work collectively? And Banner's like, because we didn't think about it.
Yes, I love it too. It's like, do you think that's where White Vision went?
There's an idea. I have thought about this. Yeah, that maybe he
white boy.
Maybe he did go to Shuri. Maybe he was like, hey, I remember that you helped me and I'm very broken. So can you please help me? That'd be cool. I'd be down for that.
I think 5 years ago. I'm not quite sure. I just tried to kill myself. He's like, oh my god. He's like, no, literally. He's like, excuse me? I think my kids are dead. What? Like, what are you talking about?
I think I have two twin boys, but I don't really remember.
I don't remember when they were born. Okay.
And my girlfriend kept the whole town hostage. I don't really understand what's going on.
I think she's my wife now. What? It's only been a week.
I need that scene. Because WandaVision takes place like 2 weeks after Endgame.
Like, okay, how old are the twins? 10.
10.
Okay, when were they born? A week ago.
I just continually love this image in my head of Wanda rolling up after she like rescues the kids in Multiverse of Madness, which I'm pretty sure is what's gonna happen. She just rolls up to Sam and Bucky like, hi, I need your help. And they're like, Wanda, whose children are these? She's like, they're mine. It's a very long story.
It's like, please, Wanda, let Ralph Boner go. You can't keep pretending he's your brother. It's like, no, he's mine now.
And then Sam and Bucky are in the background like, whose kids did she steal?
Like, Wanda, I'm Captain America now. You have to give back these poor people. Vision doesn't get accepted via Face ID because he's completely white now. Please let me in, Vision. Yeah, I love it, and I love the fact that we're gonna have the same sort of situations with these other characters as well. Like, I was thinking about this the other day. Like, I don't think Gamora is going to be the same in the Guardians 3.
No.
I wouldn't even be surprised if they end up, like, going down the route where Pete has to let her go in terms of, like, this isn't the person I fell in love with. She's died. And that I can't make this other person love me.
Yeah.
And,
like, the experiences we shared together...
Yeah.
That made me fall in love with this person and this person fall in love with me no longer exist.
And can't exist because from that point, like from her point in timeline where this Gamora comes from, she was supposed to have these adventures with me, which cannot obviously take place again.
Yeah, it's never going to happen. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is really sad. And I it's interesting to see where they go with that because we're going to see that, I think, primarily with Loki. Because we have to remember, like, this Loki... still hates the Avengers,
Yeah,
was literally
Loki.
just
He didn't.
defeated. Frigga is alive to him. He doesn't know that she's dead yet. He doesn't know that his dad's dead. He doesn't know that his sister's dead.
He doesn't know that his sister exists.
Yes, that's another point. Doesn't know that Asgard's gone.
He didn't experience the things, but you know what? I feel like they've been wanting to do a Loki redemption arc forever. But
Yes.
I feel like none of them, the movies, have given the adequate time for there to be an actual redemption arc. Like he helps in Ragnarok. He comes back and saves them, but he's still being like a little shit the entire time to Thor.
I mean, he can't completely. Thor's also being a shit. Let's be fair.
Yeah. But at the end, he's there for his brother, right? So it's a step towards an eventual. He gets a Darth Vader style redemption in the fact that like he does the right thing in the end and then dies.
Yes,
but I feel like
chance to.
I feel like Loki actually has the opportunity. If they want to do a Loki redemption arc, now is the time to do it, right? And
Absolutely.
then you can be like, well, this Loki never impersonated Odin, you know,
true.
and this Loki never did these things. This Loki maybe had to like look at. I have a feeling that Loki is about like alternate versions of Loki.
We're gonna see. Yeah, we're gonna see that.
We'll have to do like a Loki speculation episode or something.
Yeah,
and maybe he'll see like the worst version of himself, the worst possible version of himself, and then be like, "Oh no, I don't want to be this."
I'm gonna pass on that. Wow. Yeah, that's gonna be great. But it's interesting. Like this is the opportunity to expand on these elements, and we get to see that obviously with these characters as well. Sam gets to see the worst that he could potentially be in a sense in John Walker as a Captain America. I mean, not as himself, and also Bucky has seen the worst of himself. So it's interesting to see how they deal with that. But then we get into the most important part of the episode, which is with the scene with Isaiah.
I think the most important part of the series, if I'm being perfectly honest.
Yes, and I think what's interesting as well is that all these criticisms that people had in the first few episodes, where it's like, this show is not saying anything, or it won't go there. It's like, no, this is a whole story. You gotta let the story flesh out. You can't open the story and say, a long time ago, racism's bad. The end. You have to let it.
Yeah, I feel like upon a second viewing of it all together, it's going to be much more cohesive than watching it week to week. I feel like WandaVision really benefited from the week-to-week format, but I feel like this show, I know they don't want to do this, and I understand why. I feel like this show would have benefited from being dropped all at once. In the sense of like, because like the first two episodes are kind of slow, and it's like, it doesn't really like, I hate to say it doesn't really like get to the point until this episode, but it really doesn't in a lot of ways. And I think looking at it as like a 6-hour movie, you know, as a more like cohesive thing is probably going to help upon rewatching.
Yeah.
Because all of this.
Then, I feel like we've talked about it for non-stop 6 weeks, and not just us, like everyone. So it's interesting. Like, is it a weakness, or are they right? I don't know. Like, I feel like it's going to be interesting to watch it back, like you said from the beginning. And I do think it'll be stronger, but also, like I don't know, like I just like it was always those bits sprinkled in, and I think if anything, it makes the scene even more powerful. I think, quite frankly, like because we wanted it so badly. But yeah, what a great scene! Very obviously, very very sad. Carl Lumley though is just so incredible. I mean, I've grown up with this man as these incredible comic characters. Like, we have to just mention his John Jones from Justice League cartoons. Like, it just sticks in your mind that the voice, the gravitas. He did a great portrayal of John Jones's father on Supergirl, and he's always constantly just knocking it out the park. But this role in particular is just such a powerful character, and I thought it was really interesting how they did like a sort of reflection on Steve. The fact that we have this story in the first Avenger of Steve going in and breaking into these camps to rescue his friend and his brother. And then we see the same thing with Isaiah, and they treat him completely differently.
Yeah, Captain America gets to be an American hero, and Isaiah Bradley gets to rot in a prison cell for 30 years.
And experimented on.
And, I thought it was really interesting that they both Steve and Isaiah kind of lose the love of their lives. And while Steve, because of the nature of who he is, gets to go back and fix that decision or fix that thing that happened, right? He gets his happy ending with the woman that he loves, right? Now, some people would debate over whether that's a happy ending or not. I'm not getting into that. I'm not getting into endgame discourse. It's been 2 years. I need to let it go.
It was a happy ending.
No, I agree. I just don't want to get into That's like, I feel like the discourse should be dead and buried on that matter. It's done.
Okay, can I say something quickly?
Yes.
PonderVision's official stance on the ending of Endgame is let Alt Peggy get laid.
That is I'll co-sign that. That's our collective stand.
It's been a long time. She needed that dance. It's been our Peggy, she had a good life. But Alt Peggy needs to get her rocks off too.
Yeah. And it's alternate timelines. It's fine. I
will say though, have you ever thought about the fact that Alt Steve exists?
He's just chilling in the ice.
He's chilling in the ice, getting cock blocked by himself. Now that's a villain story.
I was trying to make a very sad point, and we've taken it here. But
sorry.
Isaiah, no, I'm kidding. It's fine. But Isaiah talks about losing the love of his life, and she's gone. There's nothing he could do about it. And I don't know. I feel like
never knew about what happened to him.
Yeah.
Which I'm assuming, she was pregnant.
Yeah.
Which I don't. It just makes it
heartbreaking. He comes back and realizes as a child, and
how does that come about? Does the child have anger towards the parent?
How is Eli How does Eli feel about all this? Because the kid's not around. His kid.
Yes. It definitely seems like Eli has respect for his grandpa.
Yeah, I feel like Eli really cares about his grandpa. Yeah, but that whole scene, I think there's this really interesting. It was a totally necessary scene that needed to happen in the show because Sam can't. This is going to sound bad. I hope y'all understand the context of what I'm saying here, which is Sam can't just be Captain America without this conversation about what it means to be a person of a black Captain America, right? That's a conversation that cannot exist, or that's a thing that cannot exist without this kind of conversation. And I think bringing in Isaiah was this amazing thing. And I think the thing that I really liked about this scene is Isaiah is not wrong. It's not like Isaiah has this kind of warped perception in reality. Sam even says when he's talking to Sarah, he's like, if what happened to him would have happened to me, I would have had the same perspective probably. But the show is giving you these two different things of how Isaiah is choosing to deal with what happened to him and how Sam is choosing to deal with the fact that he has the shield, right? And it's not a decision that anyone can make for the other one. Isaiah can't be you can't be Captain America. He could just offer his perspective, right? I don't know if I'm making any sense or just rambling, but
no, it's perfect sense, and I think you're spot on. Sam has been bearing his own feelings, and it's not until he gets them. It's not until he gets his own sort of, I don't think pride's the word, but his his belief, obviously as a black, and he mentions this later on with his sister, but like obviously as a black man in America, he's had to deal with this for a long time, and he has a sense of optimism in fighting back against it.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I feel like he needed to hear that, and he needed to hear.
I think in like a certain aspect, he needed to hear from somebody that this is not going to be easy for him.
That is, I think,
right?
Yeah, I think that's what's spot on.
I think like that scene with Isaiah shows, hey, he's going to be Captain America, but he is not going to be universally beloved, right? Because people are awful and terrible, right?
Yes.
And and this is the history that comes with being Captain America. And I think Sam's decision to be like, but what's the point of all that suffering if I don't do anything about it, right? I think that's a really admirable decision on his part. And again, like, I don't think Isaiah is necessarily wrong either in that scene where he's like, you shouldn't do this, basically. It's just such a good scene.
No, absolutely spot on. I feel like what's so interesting is seeing how Sam responded to him, and I feel like he's not obviously going to talk about Isaiah out in public because of what Isaiah said, but that story, and I feel like he's going to hold himself to account because of that.
Mm-hmm.
He knows that what he could do can inspire. And we see that visually with his nephews in that really beautiful scene where they see him with the shield and how he smiles. And it's like, that is what's great about this.
And I think the really interesting thing is we know that Eli, is coming.
Mm-hmm.
And I think now you've set up this really interesting element of what can happen with his character. Like, why does he choose to become Patriot, right?
Yes.
Like, there's that element to it, too. And I hope it's not just he decides to become Captain America's sidekick or something, because that'd be lame. And it was never like that in the comics. Eli was always more inspired by his grandpa than anything else. And kind of, honestly, like, the Young Avengers did not like Captain America, because Captain America was like, you can't do this. And then the Young Avengers were like, yeah, screw you, old man. We're doing it anyway. While Jessica Jones was secretly giving them high fives while he wasn't looking. But yeah.
You can't do this. Not in my town. You scallywacks. I think it'd be really cool to see where they go with that and how they get inspired by that. I feel like Sam's decision will inspire Patriot, though.
Yeah. That could be really cool.
But he's going to be doing it for his grandfather. But like, I feel like having that symbolism might be interesting to see.
Yeah.
I think the second best scene in the episode is obviously the conversation between Bucky and Sam, and seeing their friendship and love together. We see, and what's interesting, and someone pointed this out the other day, is that the show is visually telling you, it's not beating you around the head with it by spelling it out through exposition, but it's telling you that everything that the therapist said to Bucky was wrong.
Yeah.
And he's like, I want a peaceful life. We see him having a peaceful life, helping out the boat, and look how happy he looks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really liked that they basically just confirmed that therapist was useless for him.
Yes.
Because I had such a problem with those therapy scenes in general. I really liked that Sam, I've been pretty open about the fact that I have a OCD. I have obsessive compulsive disorder, which is a very, very serious, very terrible mental illness that kind of takes over your entire life in a lot of ways. And the things that I've appreciated most in life are the friends that have said, what you're doing right now isn't working.
Yeah.
You're running away from your problems. You're not actually treating, you're burying, and sometimes a therapist can't be the person that offers that perspective to you. Sometimes you need a friend to be like, listen.
You need that tough talk sometimes.
Yeah, it's tough love, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what's so great about this scene is that because what was so beautiful was obviously we get to see Bucky apologize for not straight up telling Sam that he and Steve didn't think about what it'd be like to be a black man to accept the shield, and he actively apologizes. He didn't say like, yeah, I guess we didn't think about that. My bad. He says, I'm sorry. And I think his actions also prove like more than words as well. But also, like you said, like Sam is a counselor. He's been through this and he knows how to help Bucky, but he's not going to impose on Bucky's life. So he asks him, like, can I give you some tough love? He says yes. And I think what's interesting is that, like, again, in a flashback to that therapy scene, she says to him, are you still having those nightmares? He immediately says no. But when Sam asks, he tells him the truth and says, yes, I still am. And that's that's what's beautiful about their relationship as well, is that they can lie about how much and bicker about how much they don't care about each other, but deep down they do. And that bromance has definitely evolved from just caring about Steve to caring about each other.
They've just got that distance they feel like they need to keep, you know?
Because they're prideful people. People. But also I feel like what's interesting is that they think that their ties to Steve was what binded them, but I feel like as well is that the fact that brought them to Steve's attention in the first place and why they were friends with Steve in the first place and why they were friends with each other is that they're decent, kind people.
Yeah.
They're good people. And that I found good attracts good a lot of the times. You don't always get it, and sometimes you have to weed them out eventually, but the good people stick by you and you stick by them. Yeah. So I really thought that scene was beautiful. I loved the training sequence with Sam and the shield. That was pretty cool. Seeing him.
Yeah, I loved the Rocky-esque.
Yeah.
I love the Rocky-esque training sequence where he's doing like cool flips in the forest and learning how to use the shield. And you're just like, yeah.
I did shout, holy shit, watch out, a few times.
Yeah. Watching him getting hit with that shield was not super pleasant. I was like, oh, I can nice sound design. I can feel that. Like
that, and also like when it helps. I was expecting to hear like a cartoony bing bong boom boom, and then here Sarah goes, Sam. I was like, oh god, here we go.
And you gotta know Steve knocked himself out with that shield at least once. We don't see it in the first Avenger, but you know he chucked it against a wall and it came back and hit him in the face. You know that scene in Iron Man where he's like filming himself using the repulsors and he does it too fast, he hits the wall? You know, there's definitely that version of Steve like hitting himself in the head with the vibranium shield. And
that footage was definitely deleted by the US government.
Yeah.
As soon as he went under ice. Dominic Cooper was like, delete it. No one must ever know. Yeah, I thought that was really cool. I thought it was a really cool sequence. Carly's story is interesting. There's not much in this episode, but it's nice to see her become a bit more villainous. And villainous in the sense of very righteous in her own fight. And you can still see, I think, some of the flag smashers are like, okay, we'll go along with it, but also this is weird. I don't think we're doing good stuff here. But then you like, that's the thing that's interesting about it, is because you're like, oh, what you're doing is wrong. I don't know if you're doing the right thing. And then it cuts to the sequence with the American ambassador, bigger prick. You're like, do you know what? Break his neck. I'm a flag smasher. Do what the fuck you want.
That's the thing. It's like, I agree with her in a macro sense, right?
Yes,
but it's just her methodology that I think is flawed.
It's what Sam said. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I know that the whole violence thing, like, it's deluded and it's very liberal to be like, oh yes, you can't achieve it with violence, but also it's a comic book show. Yeah. So I get it. Like, there is an extent to that violence. And I don't think blowing up people isn't the best idea.
Yeah.
But then again, only 3 people died, so, you know.
Even as someone that like from a personal sense, I'm a pacifist, right? I don't like violence in my personal like space, and it's not something I would ever personally in most circumstances. It's not something I would ever personally engage with. But I'd never be like, oh well, nobody should ever fight anybody, because that'd be like really stupid. I don't know if I'm even making a point there, but I feel like the MCU is not going to be the one that's like violent revolutions are more often than not justified. They're going to be like, no, violence is bad. I don't know.
Whilst also doing it,
while also constantly doing it.
It's I get it. I get what people want, the criticisms, but also I think Carly is just so. It's also the serum. Like, it's her extreme views are being pushed by the serum.
Yeah,
and she can, because we've seen her use the serum for good in ways that will help out. But I feel like obviously if we see Sam,
I feel like losing her like Mama Danya, like the main support system that it seemed like she had, probably kind of
pushed her over the level a bit. But yeah, I'm interested to see where that story goes in the finale. I hope we see Sam stand up and protect those people and help refugees, and there's a positive outcome for that character's arc. But apart from that, are you excited about this week's finale?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm really interested to see how this show is going to wrap up. And I want to see I'm pretty sure what's in that box is Sam's slick new Captain America costume.
Yep.
I can't wait. I need it. I need to see it. I hope it is.
I want it to be in the first 5 minutes.
I hope it is as cool as it is in my brain.
It's a Captain America suit with wings, I'm assuming, so it has to be cool, right?
Hopefully, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's just me assuming based on the comics, but I feel like they gotta do it. I think after Wanda's costume, if you didn't give us a Captain America costume with wings, I'm gonna be angry.
Yeah, that's the thing that keeps reverberating in my head. They knocked the Scarlet Witch costume like completely out of the park. At least for me. Like, I love that costume. I think it's amazing.
So good.
I think it's one of the best adaptations of a comic book costume to the MCU that we've had so far, outside of like an Iron Man suit, which is a pretty easy thing to like translate, right?
I hope the post-credit scene, everyone's expecting obviously to see US Agent in the black and red outfit, which I am as well. I hope we get to see it completely. I hope we get to see so the end shot is like Sam, Captain America outfit. Cuts to Bucky, new outfit with the white star. Maybe if they go crazy, they give him the little Robin mask, domino mask. Cuts to like a darker shot, and we see US Agent with the shield in jail preparing for something crazy. And then it cuts to a spotlight. You see a yellow glove being put on and a purple jumpsuit. And it's Patrick the Leaper.
You almost had me there until the very end.
You thought, I
feel like we need to talk about Sharon Carter a bit before you wrap up this episode.
Oh yeah, I think we both forgot she was in this.
Yes, because she's in it for like 2 seconds, but she's the power broker, right?
Maybe. I feel like the whole Julia character that is up in the air. Like, maybe she is working for the power broker. I don't know. She's letting them out. She's let the Patrick the Leaper out. Who knows what she's doing? She's having fun, at least. No, good for her.
Yeah, but she's clearly not what we thought she was.
No. She's definitely got an agenda of sorts, which includes letting a French terrorist out, an Algerian terrorist
out to kill Sam. Like, that's my
yes,
right?
Yeah, not great. Unless she's like, I knew you could defeat him, and it'll be like some rubbish like that.
I was just testing you as Captain America.
Well, she's like, I knew that to get everyone defeated, you had to have the push, and he gave her the push to go to the New York, and that's what got you there. And Sam's gonna be like, okay, you're under arrest though.
Yeah, forget that pardon I said I was gonna get you.
Here's a pardon. Pardon? Excuse me, what did you just do? Yeah.
My immediate thought though was like, oh, she's the power broker.
Yes.
Like also, that was my like, oh, okay. Yeah, that's all right. That makes sense, I suppose.
Like, why is she? It wasn't that bad. Was it? Big on the run? Bruce Banner was on the run. He didn't turn into a terrorist.
Yeah.
He turned into a monster, but, you know.
Yeah, but she did get kind of disproportionately screwed over compared to everyone else.
Yeah, that's true.
Wanda got Cap, Sam, and Nat, they seemed like they were fine. Wanda got a nice, vacation with her boyfriend every once in a while.
He got stabbed, you know.
But that wasn't... She had, 2 years of nice times with her boyfriend, I imagine.
Yeah, I suppose so. Watching sitcoms.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Wanda, darling, get the light.
Exactly.
2 years of getting the light with Wanda.
Yeah.
Ant-Man
Ant-Man was fine. He got to play the drums. You know, he had to break up with his girlfriend, but it ended up all right. She took him back. It's fine. They're fine now.
How are you? Yeah, I'm just thinking, Sam, you know. Yeah, I guess they also got to hang out in Wakanda. They had a free vacation over Wakanda, I guess.
Yeah.
Free pass.
Is there anything else that we need to touch on?
I don't think so. I feel like we're ready to sort of wrap up, and because there's so much to just dive into. I can't wait for this week's episode.
Yeah. Well, 2 days as of recording this.
2 days. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at AshJeffies, and you can find my podcast, which is Rogue Podron, which is at Rogue Podron on Twitter, at Rogue Podron on Twitter, or whatever podcatcher you use, we are there. That's a Star Wars Book Club podcast where we talk about Star Wars sometimes. Occasionally, we talk about Star Wars.
Perfect. You can find me on Twitter at CMWASHBY. A link to all my stuff is in my bio. It's my Linktree bio. Also, all links for our stuff is going to be in the little YouTube description in case you want to click down there as well. But also, I've got a Patreon where I've got different shows, including Batman Returned. We just did a commentary for The Dark Knight, which is pretty cool. And also the Imperial Set podcast, my Star Wars podcast, where we talk gibberish about Star Wars. Well, that's all we've got time for this week. We'll be back next time for the Falcon and the Winter Soldier finale. I can't believe we're here already. And we'll have a few recurring guests returning. So I can't wait to discuss the show with you all. Until then, see ya.